Today, I'm ricing out my car. Okay, so that was pretty dramatic. But I'm not completely lying. So there's, of course, this car is extremely new to the market. There's not many things out for it quite yet. I do have some things ordered that I'm really excited about, but again, they were paid for and ordered before they're even produced. So the wait is the struggle. However, there are a few things that we've already found for this vehicle to make it stand out. So if you've heard me talk about this car before, compared to its K5 Kia cousin counterpart, the Sonata N-Line is, from my point of view, again, don't hate on me because I have a lot of love for the K5, but the Sonata is a little bit more refined. From my point of view, it is the older, more mature vehicle in the segment compared to the two, because the K5 is much more aggressive looking than the Sonata. As you can see on the inside, this is the interior that we get to look at. Again, it's nothing crazy. I mean, the only kind of performance-y kind of variant is the red stitching, and of course it has dark chrome accents. But as you can see, there's a lot of like leather, and again, this proves my point. When the vehicle is turned off, there's nothing. I mean, of course, this is all capacitive touch buttons for the media player, and then even the AC controls are just, look, besides the actual physical buttons on the sides to tell you what they're for, the knobs are completely just blacked out in a sense, and so are these switches in the center. So unless the car's on, you really have no idea. Also, we have just no actual shifter. We have physical, digital buttons, I guess, that do the selecting for you. And then of course down here to your drive modes and your auto hold for the brakes. So again, when you look at it from that aspect, you know, you don't get the shifter, you don't get to put it into sport mode, you know, and do hand shifts. Yes, you have paddles right here and right here, but this is a little bit more refined. Dark chrome trims right here. Again, it's very tame. And so there's nothing wrong with that. I love this car, believe me. There's so much to love, and I think the slight tameness, the toned down looks of it are definitely me. But I'm gonna rice this out a bit. We found some interior trim pieces that I got ordered, and so we're gonna add a little bit of carbon fiber around here, the air ducts over here, and then a splash of color for my Bose, I believe they're the tweeters of the sound system. And the reason why is because this car needs a little bit of, you know, extra oomph. Alright guys, real quick review video. So this has actually been 2 months since I've actually installed a lot of the interior pieces. I'm in the back seat if you couldn't tell, and the reason why is because I wanted to give you guys kind of the best aspect and look of what this looks like. I'm currently parked outside, so that's why you see kind of the sun reflectiveness and then also what it looks like in the dark. So I'm going to do my best to cover this real quickly. But forgive me if you hear the AC, it's super hot, so I have the AC running. But as you can see, so I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, but this is the actual media player, and it's got the screen protector that I placed. I had mentioned that I was doing something like that in a previous video, but I just want to show you guys. So when everything's cleaned up and you have no fingerprints anywhere, this is essentially what it looks like. It's super clean and flush. You can't tell until you start looking at like the outer edges. So again, really clean. Now as far as the accents, so you can see the carbon fiber looks really clean. I have matching air fresheners going on. This is what it looks like in the dark. We'll go here to the side so you can see that one. And then there is the tweeter trim. And you saw that I added the door switch covers. They actually make a world of a difference. They look so much better. Another thing I added was this little ring to the push to start, just because I felt like the push to start on this car was so plain, and this is supposed to be a sportier model, so yeah, sorry, a little bit of racing out. And then as you can see on this side, there is the AC vents as well, the tweeter, and the carbon fiber trim. And since we're back here, I'm actually going to show you how clean that carbon fiber trim looks. It looks amazing. So we're going to show the back seats. This is what it looks like with a little bit of sunlight shining it, and it's just super flush. It's just really nice. It's almost like the stock location of where the switches were actually a little indented so that this doesn't actually poke out too much. And then we'll go to this one, which this is in the dark. And as you can see, the camera just adjusted, but it looks so good. I mean, just that carbon fiber. There's a little bit of sunlight hitting it, but it just looks really good. Overall, I am happy about it, but I am gonna go now to the front seats to show you the cons, because that's the whole reason why I delayed on actually showing this off. So let's get there. All right, so we're in the front, and again, forgive the wind noise for the AC, but it's super hot in California. So here's the cons. One problem that I had with these trim pieces were the fact that when you assemble them, or I'm sorry, when you adhere them, they're not actually a flexible material. And the problem is that, as you can see, this kind of arches, oops. This section right here arches, so this sticks out just a little bit more than the bottom. So the downside is that while it adhered, so you hear that? This has been 2 months. So it's not perfectly stuck in some areas. Look, I'm actually pressing this and it flexes, you can hear it. So that's kind of the big disclaimer. The ones in the center are fine because this is flat. So see, I'm pressing it, nothing. And you could kind of hear it there, but on the edges, right here, look at that. So this bottom part, quite literally, it's a lip. Look, my finger's actually going underneath it. So the downside is that it's kind of nice in that respect. I mean, so that's the disclaimer. When you look at it this way, and right now you can only tell because the sun is actually going through it, so you see that right there. Normally you can't tell. But if you're one of those people that are just really like ADD about these kind of things and really anal, then I'm honestly just gonna give you the disclaimer that it is pretty bad quality. So do with that what you will. I mean, if you want to still go for it, it does look pretty clean. You're not gonna know the difference unless you're actually touching on things. Like I said, it looks pretty nice. And I do love my little matching air fresheners, the Air Spencer Clippias. You can eBay them and whatnot. So it doesn't look bad. Like I said, unless you're actually paying attention to details and you're actually touching things, it won't look bad. Now, if you're trying to make your Sonata or your N-Line a show car, you're definitely gonna get knocked off points for something like that, because even though it's subtle, attention to detail when it comes to a show car. But again, I mean, for the price, I mean, they were little cheap pieces, and honestly, it just kind of adds a little bit of extra flair to the interior. Just this carbon fiber right here, the little trim on the tweeters, and then of course these. I know that they make some for up here. I don't think I'm gonna do that because this is kind of a nice leather. I just kind of want to keep the aesthetic going, and I highly recommend this